Recently, in the United States, there has been a growing tension between police and the American people. This tension first became as a result of a shooting in Ferguson, Missouri. On August 9th, Michael Brown, a black teenager, was shot and killed by police officer Darren Wilson. Michael Brown was unarmed when he was shot, and as a result, this sparked many protests in the surrounding communities. Recently, on November 24th, it was announced that the grand jury decided not to indict Officer Darren Wilson. This decision led to waves of anger from people gathered outside the Ferguson Police Department. Throughout the night, fires were started and looting became rampant. Police officers fired off many canisters of tear gas in response to the angry riots. Protesters began throwing objects at officers in riot gear. The next day, it was estimated that at least 12 buildings were set on fire. The National Guard was then deployed in Ferguson to help calm protesters. Many other protests and demonstrations took place in the United States as a result of the grand jury decision. Major cities have had demonstrations blocking traffic and causing disturbances in daily lives. This tension in Ferguson, as well as the rest of the United States, may be a result of the predominantly black community in relation to all the white Ferguson police force. Additionally, anger was directed toward Officer Darren Wilson, who sustained only a minor bruise on his face during the altercation with Brown. In a seemingly similar conflict, a Staten Island man, Eric Gardner, was killed during a takedown by a police officer on July 17th. Gardner was taken down by Officer Daniel Pantaleo in a chokehold for illegally selling cigarettes on the street. The incident was recorded on camera and went viral online. The video shows the takedown, and Gardner is heard saying, "I can't breathe," several times. On December 3rd, the grand jury decided not to indict police officer Daniel Pantaleo in relation to Gardner's death. In response, many protests began to rise up in New York City, halting traffic and disrupting the Rockefeller tree lighting ceremony. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio commented on the decision by stating that this decision was one that many in our city did not want. He went on to say, "Do not react with violence and disorder." To make the issue more complicated, the city medical examiner in this case ruled the death a homicide by compression of the neck. After hearing that Gardner's death would not result in an indictment, the family of Gardner filed a $75 million lawsuit against the city of New York. The family is stating wrongful death, pre-death pain and suffering, and civil rights issues in the state. President Obama responded to the issues recently in announcing his plans for making law enforcement more effective. The president went on to say, "I'm going to be proposing some new community policies, initiatives that will greatly expand funding and training for law enforcement, including up to 50,000 body-worn cameras for law enforcement agencies." Regardless of what politicians, police, and the courts say, there is still unrest, anger, and frustration in the United States in response to these issues. Many people have flocked to social media to express their opinions. Here at SUNY Oneonta, a protest was held in the quad in response to these two incidents. It seems that more needs to be done in response to the feelings as a result of the encounters between police and the American people.